welcome everybody to, do we have the applicants here too? Just so I know.
Yes.
We do, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
me
good.
as well.
Okay,
Jonathan Collins with the builder.
okay, all right, great.
Representing us.
Okay, so I'll start the meeting. Welcome to the Hamilton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of Wednesday, August 5th, July 2026. This is a fully Zoom meeting. We have a couple things to talk about here. First is, I'll just go through the agenda for now. Public hearings, the application is for the property at 21 Beach Street and 0 Lakeshore Ave, Assessors Map 66, lots 47 and 48, zoning district R1A, GPOD overlay district. The owner of the property is Chabaco Park LLC, and the applicant is Luxurious Homes LLC. The application requests a special permit for dimensional relief due to lot size in a GPOD to reconstruct a single-family home under zoning bylaw 9.1.9.1. And then after that, we will close that meeting once we've voted on that. And then we're going to probably have an executive session pursuant to GLC 30A 21 parentheses A parentheses 3 to discuss strategy relating to pending litigation known as Construction Management and Builders Inc. versus Town of Hamilton Zoning Board of Appeals, Massachusetts Land Court, case number 26 MISC 000305 parentheses DRR close parentheses. If the chair declares that discussing the matter is in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the board, a vote regarding whether to go into executive session is expected, and votes may occur during the executive session. And then we have some other things to talk about after that, meeting minutes, stuff like that. Before we get going on anything, we've had a lot of shifting around with members. Some people, it was coming up for people to re-up their time on the board. And I have continued with it as being the chair, and Andy has continued as one of the members, key members, and Stephen DeRocher has decided to leave us. Unfortunately, he's moving to Essex. So I'd like to give him a big thanks for everything he's done on this board. It's been great working with him. He's brought a lot of good insight and thank you, Stephen, for everything you've done. You can
Stephen, it's been great working with you.
Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
I'm not choosing to leave the ZBA. I have to if I'm moving house to another town. So
yes,
if you let me stay, I'd stay.
All the way to Essex. So
I know.
Not too far.
I feel like a traitor.
Yeah. Right. No, you can join that board. Slide right in. No, wish you luck though, and hopefully your move goes really well. And then we have for taking his place will be John Green, who we met with last month, I believe. And he's not able to join with us tonight to listen. Well, he might. I don't know. Is he listening in at all, or is he?
No, he's on a family vacation, so
Okay.
he'll be with us next meeting.
Okay, he has to be sworn in, and but once that's completed, he'll be full time with us. So in light of all this shifting around, we need to have a clerk someone assigned to the clerk position. So Andy's the only one here that can volunteer to do that since John isn't here. We can wait till next month if you would like.
I'm happy to be the clerk.
Okay. All right. That's great. So we'll have you as the official clerk. Okay, so I think we're ready to go ahead. So as we've seen, we have Stephen, Andy, and myself, and Mark Connor here to listen to the first application, 21 Beach Street. So who is presenting that? Please state your name and describe what you're proposing.
Absolutely. My name is Charlie Clapp, and I'm an attorney with offices located at 254 Bay Road. I'm representing luxurious homes in an application for an approval of an enlargement and replacement of a home in the groundwater overlay district. This might look familiar to you guys because back in, I believe the application was in January, and you did a hearing back in February 4th, 2026. And the board approved a similar project to this. We did, my clients went before Rich and asked if they could use that special permit. Because our home is being situated in a different location, he recommended that we get a different special permit. He wasn't comfortable issuing a building permit based on the prior special permit. So here we are. If you look at the site plan, it does differ a little bit from the prior application. The house is being pulled a little bit closer to Beach Street, and we're eliminating the garage and also the long driveway going into the garage. You can also see from the site plan that we are going to be conforming with the R1A zoning district setbacks, the 28-foot on the front, 100 to the left, 80 to the right, and 38 to the rear. So the house will be conforming for the R1A district. The driveway access will continue to be from Beach Street, and we're going to eliminate the Lakeshore Drive access, which I think will be good. Like I said before, the existing garage will be removed. The application before the boards, like I said, it is similar in nature to what was before the board before. One of the big differences by eliminating the garage and the long driveway, we're reducing the amount of the impervious surfaces significantly. The prior submission, I believe, had a 13% impervious area on it. The proposal before the board is for around 10%, which is a significant reduction. In the prior submission, the board had approved anything up to 15%, so we're going to be below that. The proposed structure, as you can see from the plans, it's a 3-bedroom property. It is going to be 2 stories as opposed to 1 story, which the board had approved before. But in the groundwater overlay district, the impervious, my understanding is the impervious area is more of the greater concern. The new home will be around 3,600 square feet is what we're proposing right now. And as before, the board before, you can see from the plans and everything, there is, it's going to look better than what's there now. There's ample precedent for allowing this kind of thing in the neighborhood, which I believe, it's going to benefit all of the neighbors by kind of taking a house that was not great and putting something that looks nice. 3-bedroom. The applicant has been in touch with the Board of Health, obviously. They have submitted an application for a 3-bedroom septic. I think they were a few requested changes, and those have been resubmitted to the Board of Health. I think Board of Health the health agent might be out of the office this week, but I don't think there were major changes that were being requested. But overall, it's very similar in nature to what we were doing before, with the added benefit of reducing the amount of impervious area on the property.
And I don't have it. I didn't get to compare the 2 measurements. What's the building in square foot increase? Do you have that number? Compared to the last
I don't know. I know the footprint on the house is now 1872 is what we're proposing. I think, hang on a sec, I can tell you what. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just pull up the old application.
Yeah, I had it up, but I lost it. I had too many screens open.
Yeah, no, hang on. I'll pull it up. It was, and this is kind of, this is just going off of the plan. I believe it was 50 by 48. If memory serves me right. I apologize. I should have it. It is, the actual footprint is bigger, but because the garage is going away and that huge driveway is going away, the impervious area is significantly reduced.
Yeah, that's the trade-off. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, and the house isn't that much bigger. I don't think it's just the fact that it's going to be a 2-story.
2-story, right?
Yeah, as opposed to one. But I mean, it'll still obviously comply with. We're not looking for any relief. Here I have it. So the old house was, or I mean, the priorly approved house was 50 by 28, but that does not include the deck, which it did have a wraparound deck, and it also had a garage that was 38 by 24. And I don't see any dimensional drawings on what that driveway was, but it was a significant sea of asphalt. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I remember that being that was putting you over the 15%.
Yeah, I don't know if it was over. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was approved, but I don't know if that. What you know, I don't know.
Well, it was approved, I think, with keeping that either gravel or something like, a pervious driveway.
Okay.
It's, minimizing asphalt, basically.
Yeah.
Keep it under 15.
It was. So the total, I'm looking at your prior approval. Your prior approval approved 4,564 square feet of impervious. I think our impervious is going to be 3,078.
Okay. All right.
So significantly less.
Go in the right direction. Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
The overall structure footprint too is smaller if you include the garage.
Right.
So it looks like my map now is like 2,300 was the house and garage in the previous
Yeah.
design.
Well,
This is about 2,000 in the current design.
Well, the idea is you pull right into the garage as opposed to
Yeah.
driving around the house up to a standalone garage. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's a better use of the space and better project to me personally.
Mm-hmm.
I might be biased.
Okay. This always pops up. It's a 3-bedroom house. On the second floor, there's 3 bedrooms, and then another rooms. It's just as big as the other 2 smaller bedrooms. That's labeled office, and it has closets in it.
Right.
So it's going to have to be a deeded 3-bedroom house.
Deed
only.
restriction. Okay.
And then the other thing I see a lot is a basement that has a full bath in it with a shower or a tub.
Is that, I don't think our plan has that though, does it?
It does. It has a shower stall,
Okay.
a bathroom, shower stall, toilet, sink, and a linen closet.
Yeah.
Which kind of tells me like, oh, that could be a bedroom, even though it's not a legal bedroom. I don't believe.
So I think the plan was to build the structure and then John. So I think we were talking about the. I think we were talking about the bathroom in the basement, right? Jonathan,
Yes.
do you? I mean, I think I would assume the applicant would be okay with the 3-bedroom restriction. I don't think we have a choice. It's a 3-bedroom septic, so
right.
It kind of is what it is. And in terms of the bathroom, I think these are initial plans. I mean, they'll need to pull a building permit, I would think, but yeah.
So with the basement down the bathroom, I mean, that's going to be recreational room. Often we'll put a gym down there, and just it's a matter of convenience. Nowhere in the basement is meant to be a bedroom. So that.
Yeah, I don't think there are any windows down there, right?
It's a matter of convenience, and to get it's a matter of money as well. To get the money we want for the house, that having the extra bathroom downstairs is the intent is never to have someone throw a bathroom down there. It's to use the gym or be able to use the bathroom while you're watching a movie, go down. It's a rec area.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with the bathroom at all. It's the shower. That makes it more personalized space. So
Well,
could
like
we do it without the shower?
I could talk to my investors, but I mean, it's something that we can be discussed. If I'm a shower away from being approved, then I'm sure that I can make that work. But that the main purpose of the shower is A, you get that extra quarter of a bath, and B, like I said, if we got the gym down there, you don't want to go trouncing up 2 floors to the next bathroom to the next shower, and you got that right there. You can hit it and then go about your day. That's the intent of the space.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan, there are no windows down there, right? I mean, that's not. I mean, it's a bulkhead access area, right? Judging by the elevations,
Yeah, no, there's no.
there's no way. I mean, it's a basement.
Yeah, window wells.
Yep,
That's it. 3 window wells.
correct.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's not walkout or anything like that. I mean, I don't think that's.
No.
I think
No,
we're
I know
talking.
it's not. Yeah, it's not set up as a legal bedroom, but I just worry about it being used as a bedroom.
Right. But I would imagine the Board of Health would opine on this, right? When they pull a building permit. I would imagine, right? I mean,
Well, and when we had the project on Maple Street, we were just with number of rooms and the layout, and we just went with the deed restriction and had that recorded, and that satisfied the health department and the building department, and we moved on.
right.
Right. Okay. Well, Andy, Steven, do you have any thoughts on this? Weird noises.
I don't. I think the reduction in impervious area is a good addition. I was curious about um, lot coverage comparisons, but I was able to do that earlier in the meeting, and it's actually less if you include the garage in the previous lot coverage. And I think we discussed this way back in February when we first discussed this, but I think the groundwater overlay protection district doesn't necessitate anything special with the septic, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
I guess just lot coverage, impervious lot coverage. So, and that is less. So, Andy,
I'm good.
you're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we have no other further comments, I'd entertain a motion to vote on this
I motion
project
to
as it's designed with the 3-bedroom deed restriction applied to it.
I motion to approve the project at 21 Beach Street with an added 3-bedroom deed restriction.
I second that.
Okay, roll call vote.
Stephen DeRocher, aye.
Andy Phillip, aye.
And Bruce Gingrich, aye. So I have 20, oh boy, it's been a while, 14 days to write the decision, and then there's a 20-day wait period for any appeals from abutters. You know what? I didn't ask if there's anybody out there have any comments on this. I don't think we had any last time, so that's why I'm not thinking of that. I just want to make sure there's nobody in the outside world there that has any comments. Is there anybody? Okay, so I think we're all clear. Okay, so yeah, so 20 days to for that to clear the appeals process, and you can start your construction.
Great. Thank you guys very
Okay.
much. Have a nice day.
All right.
Night, I should say.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So the next thing that what is that? We're gonna move.
If you'd like,
Move
Bruce,
towards-
you have the option to
Oh.
move the agenda around so you do all the public stuff before the executive session, if that's easier.
Yeah, that probably would be. So the other things we need to take care of is the approval of the draft meeting minutes of June 3rd, 2026. Anybody have any issues with that? Meeting minutes?
None from me.
Steven? You're good? Okay, I didn't have any problems with it.
My last name's spelled wrong.
Uh,
Oh no.
It's spelled right in
Well,
one place and wrong in another place.
so we can't find you when you finally move.
If you're all fine with that, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of June 3rd, 2026.
I motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 3rd, 2026.
I second that.
Okay, roll call vote.
Stephen DeRocher, aye.
Andy Phillip, I.
And Bruce Gingrich, aye. Okay, so those are approved. And then we had vote by board for chair and clerk. We've discussed that already. And so we're all set there. And we're trying to pull together information for new members and stuff so we're all kind of in line with how the zoning board's gonna work in the future. I think that's still in the process. So I don't really have anything else.
I think just the last thing
is
is
it-
Robin's going to join us to talk about some new changes in the state law that were made to the criteria to grant variances that are now in effect. So
Okay.
I believe she's joining right now.
Oh, good. Okay.
Bruce, did you say that David is still on the ZBA or has he resigned?
David and Scott Madden are both resigned.
Okay, got it.
They've pulled out. They're just too busy in real life. So if we run into anybody who might show any interest as being an alternate, we'd love to hear from them.
Great.
It's good to have two if we can do that. That'd be great. We just need to stress that they need to be available for each meeting that we hold so that we're not, they're not missing out and they're kind of learning the process and just what's happening around town.
Great.
As far as our board is concerned. Okay, did she join us?
I believe she just hopped on. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hello.
welcome, Robin.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
So Robin is, as I was saying before Robin joined, the governor signed the budget last month, and there were some non-budget related things in the budget, and one of those was
Quite a few.
quite a few non-budget things in the budget.
The
It
potato
happens.
one.
It's not, it happens.
And so Robin's going to kind of briefly brief us on what some of those changes are, which those went into effect immediately. So they're kind of in effect moving forward.
Sure. Yeah. So
Okay.
good evening, everyone. Good to see you all. Robin Stein from KP Law. I don't know if Mark, did you share with the board? We had sent the update over just to kind of give folks background. Is that something you have shared with them or not yet?
Yes. Do you want me to
Okay.
put that on the
No,
screen?
no, I just didn't know like if folks were totally new to it, had some sense of the changes or what have you. So happy to kind of have an initial conversation about it tonight and go over some of the high level things. And then if there's, a reason in the future to maybe do a more in-depth training, we certainly can. Obviously, we're working our way through the new language as well. I mean, there are plenty of things in there that ultimately a court might have to weigh in on, but we're working our way through and getting a handle on, what we think things mean. So less than clear in some regards. But there are definitely some wholesale changes. The two areas that I think are going to impact you the most as a zoning board are the changes to 48.6 and then the changes to the variance provision. So that's kind of what I was going to focus on tonight. And then if anyone has any other questions, given that you have our e-update, I can try to answer those as well. So the first paragraph of 40A6 is the paragraph that regulates existing nonconformities. And essentially, they added a sentence in here that says that provided, however, notwithstanding the rest of the paragraph, pre-existing non-conforming structures or residential uses that do not conform to zoning because of lot size or shape, frontage, lot coverage, or floor area ratio requirements can be extended as of right without a finding if the extension complies with height, stories, and setback. So what that means is you're probably going to get less finding applications, because in the past you would have gotten, a finding application when, say, a lot was undersized and somebody wanted to alter the structure, even if, certain changes were conforming. And so the implication of this are making it easier for people to make changes to nonconformities. So essentially, if the reason they're undersized is lot size, shape, frontage, or lot coverage, or floor area ratio, so they're undersized lot, undersized frontage, and they want to make a change, and whatever they're changing is going to comply with height, stories, or setback, it's not going to come to you anymore. So you won't have to do it much with this, but you may see less applications in general for findings for all conformities. The legislature made it easier for folks to, to make certain changes. So, that's one of the ones that is more zoning board applicable.
So,
Yes.
quick question. So
Sure.
if someone has a 10-foot setback and they need 25, but they're going to build something at 23 on the same face, do they have to come to the zoning board of appeals because they're not 25?
Yeah.
Even
So
though
if the new, well, so I just want to make sure I understand your question right. So if they, I'm not sure I'm following the way you said it. So when you say they have a 10-foot setback, so right now they're
Yeah.
10 feet off the property line,
Right. So that's
but they're
their
supposed to be,
nonconformity.
and they're supposed to be 25 feet off.
Yes.
They're still going to have to come to you because setback is not one of the things that they set. So it's, if you're non-conforming because of lot size, shape, frontage, lot coverage, and floor area, and what you're doing complies with setback, then they would not have to come to you. So in that case, they would have to come to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it just has to be clean, completely clean, as far as all the parameters.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure we're going to spend a lot of time looking at the language, looking at what people are doing. But
Okay.
that's the one change. So, that one, again, it's not necessarily you're going to be applying, but it's just may result in you getting less applications. So that's one of the changes. Another change within 40A6 is that the abandonment period is now 4 years instead of 2. So it used to be abandonment used to be that if you abandon or discontinue to use for 2 years or a structure for 2 years, you could lose your non-conforming protections. They made the 2 years 4 years. So again, it's going to have an impact on what folks are doing. It may impact what comes to you and how it comes to you, but nothing that you're going to be applying yourselves. The changes to 4810 and variances, that is going to be something that all of our zoning boards are going to have to get used to this new language. And it is a very dramatic shift, in my opinion. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the old variance language that said that you had the power to grant variances if the variance criteria are met, right? So hardship, soil shape, topography, you're all familiar with the old standard. They struck the entire old section, put in an entire new section. And that new section, as opposed to saying the permit granting authority, the zoning board of appeals, has the power, if things are met, to grant, the new language actually says that the permit granting authority shall grant the variance if it finds that a strict enforcement of the ordinance or the bylaw would result in practical difficulty. Now, we don't exactly know what practical difficulty means. So that phrase, that terminology, is something I expect that we're going to have litigation over. And it's probably going to come up maybe in the degree of what folks are looking for. You know, somebody says, I want a variance to let me do 50 units. And you're like, well, we think you should only do 30 units. And you're only allowed to do 10 units. What's the practical difficulty? Like, what does that mean? What's reasonable? So, you know, am I able to screen share? Because I can put up the, like the new language if you want.
I think I can give you that power. Hold on.
All right, let me see. I can send you a request.
Yep, you should be able to now.
Okay, so let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Okay. So can you guys see the track changes on my screen here, the red?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so the new provision says the permit granting authority shall, after a public hearing, for which notice has been given by publication and posting as provided under section 11, mailing to all parties in interest. So you shall grant, upon appeal or petition with respect to particular land or structures, a variance from the terms of the applicable zoning ordinance or bylaw if the permit granting authority specifically finds that strict enforcement of the ordinance or bylaw would result in a practical difficulty. And I'll be honest, we don't know what that means. I'm sure applicants are going to come in and say, well, if I can't do what I want to do, it's a practical difficulty. And certainly this is a much more lenient approach to variances than you're used to. The whole notion, in my opinion, of variances being sparingly granted seems a little bit out the door. It does go on to say, in making your determination, that you shall weigh the benefits to the appellant or petitioner and to the public interest, including the interest in supporting production of housing against the detriment to public health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood, and that you may consider if the practical difficulty relates to soil, shape, or topography of land or structures. You may consider whether the strict enforcement would impose a financial hardship on the appellant or petitioner, and you may consider whether the benefits sought by the appellant or petitioner can be achieved by some other method feasible, and whether the practical difficulty was self-created. So, you know, even though like this, and then I'll just go on real quick. So there's also a change in the use variance language. So you may recall in the past that zoning boards could only grant use variances at all if the local zoning bylaw allowed them to grant use variances. Now, and the language is a little unclear, but I think what they mean to be saying here is that whether your bylaw says it or not, by statute, use variances can be granted for residential uses, but the bylaw needs to explicitly allow use variances for commercial uses. Because what it says is, except where the local ordinance or bylaw is expressly approved for variances, no variance may authorize a use or activity other than residential, not otherwise permitted in the district in which the land is located. And then the other change in here is that in the past, you had to exercise a variance within 1 year, and then you had the ability to come in and ask for a 6-month extension. And now you have 2 years to exercise the variance. You also can ask for a 2-year extension, but they said this as well, and we're really not sure what this part is going to mean. It says, if the rights authorized by a variance are not exercised within 2 years after the variance is granted, which shall not include the time required to pursue other entitlements necessary to construct the project authorized by the variance, or wait the determination of an appeal, then the rights lapse. And I'll be honest, the concept of entitlement in zoning is uncommon. So at a minimum, folks are going to have 2 years to exercise the variance, and they can ask for a 2-year extension. I imagine, there may be in time some litigation over, what the time required to pursue other entitlements necessary to construct the project means. Is that just a building permit? Is that state permitting? We don't know for sure what that's going to mean. So a lot of changes in 4810, really wholesale changes to how variances are granted, how they're exercised, all of it. So, I mean, that's kind of a high level explanation. I'm sure as you start to get in new applications, We'll get questions and, we'll start refining our advice on these things as we get specific facts and questions in front of us. And then, I imagine there's going to be litigation, at some point, probably sooner than later, about what some of this means. So happy to answer questions. There are other changes in here, but these are the big ones that really impact the zoning board itself. So I can stop sharing, but it's kind of an introduction to the new changes.
So, Robin, our zoning bylaw references the old variance criteria. I imagine that's unenforceable at this point, right?
Yes. So I do think that's a great question, Mark. I think that, most zoning ordinances or bylaws don't just say C 4810. They actually have the language in there. It's something in time I think you're going to want to update because it's going to confuse people, and a butter is going to come in and say, well, your bylaw says they need a hardship. And it's confusing, right? Like the ADU stuff, you didn't have to make changes, but you want to because you want the bylaw to reflect the law and you want to have less of that confusion for folks. So I do think you're going to want to, go through and figure out, what needs to change. And that's something you and I can talk about. But for now, the statute is going to control. So to the extent that there's anything in your zoning bylaw that's different than any of this stuff. So for example, if your zoning bylaw says abandonment and discontinuance after 2 years, it's 4.
Yeah.
That's not something you have to change to make effective. Like the statute's going to control. So, my opinion is the new variance language controls regardless of what your zoning bylaw says. Anything that's in here that's inconsistent, that doesn't require local action is going to control.
Okay.
Well, it'll be fun trying to figure
Yeah,
out
I
what's
mean,
a self-inflicted hardship and not.
well, it's interesting because it's hard for me, other than if you owned a property and like the town, say, took a corner for a road or something. It's hard for me to really think of what's not self-created. Like either you bought it knowing there was a problem, or you did something to create it, or you were proposing something that you couldn't do. Like, you're allowed to consider it. You don't have to consider it, but I think there's, you're going to hear some arguments. Just about everything you have some responsibility for. I don't know if it's self-created, but, short of literally, a taking or something, what's not self-created? Right. So, yeah. And again, like I said, I think a lot of the weeds of this are going to involve like the extent of what people want to do. Somebody could come in and they could say, well, practically, if you apply your bylaw, I can't do the maximum I want to do. I don't know that this means they get to do that maximum. So there still needs to be some reasonableness in, what I think in what folks are proposing, but definitely, the legislature is showing their intent to, make variances easier to get, and particularly variances that support housing growth. So.
Any other
Anybody
questions
have-
on that before we go to
anybody?
non-public?
No, for me, I'll read through that again. I read the first thing about it, and it'll be interesting to read
And
through
you
it
can
again.
certainly
Take my time.
reach out to me with any questions too. If you have specific questions, feel free to reach out. Like I said, I can come back at some point, maybe even in person. They're hard to do trainings over Zoom sometimes, and we can go through it in more detail if we need to. We had talked about maybe doing some like regional trainings just from our office, but I'm not sure the status of those at this point. So we'll see. There might be more to come on those.
Be great.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Rose, you have a question?
I do, if it's okay. Bruce, may I ask a question, just a clarifying question? This caught me a little bit by surprise, Robin. Thank you for coming on. Just a question. As of right, pre-existing non-conforming can happen as of right in some instances. Could you just review those criteria again? I'm not sure I caught them all.
Yeah, sure. So I can let me, I'll put it back up so you can see it too. Hold on. because I didn't have it up. And let me find the red line section in here and I'll put it back up for you. Okay, so let's see. How do I share? Okay. So you should be saying this. So what it says now at the bottom of, so this is the first paragraph of 40A6. Oh, and one other thing I should mention. So I think some of you are familiar with the concept that a proposed zoning change would apply to a project if the special permit or the building permit wasn't issued before first publication of the zoning change. They changed that from issued to applied for. So before there was no application freeze for projects, and now there is. So that is another change to keep in mind. And again, not so much for your board and how you apply the zoning, but just something to be aware of how the zoning will apply. So if you go down here, so we have our normal, this is all the regular language that was already in 40A6 about pre-existing non-conforming structures being extended or altered and findings. And then they added a sentence that said, provided, however, notwithstanding the foregoing, pre-existing non-conforming structures or residential uses that do not conform to zoning because of lot size or shape, frontage, lot coverage, or floor area ratio requirements may be extended or altered as of right without the need for a finding if the extension or alteration complies with the current dimensional requirements for height, stories, and setback.
Great. That's much clearer. Thank you.
Sure, of course.
Okay.
Any other? Okay, I'll stop sharing that. Okay.
And Bruce, if you don't have anything else more for this, there's that little script for the executive session.
Yes. So I think do we want to close the public hearing now and then, or just go into this and then?
I think if you read that script, it'll sort of take you there.
Okay. So I now propose the board enter the executive session to discuss strategy regarding the pending litigation in Construction Management and Builders, Inc., CMB, versus Town of Hamilton ZBA, as it is my opinion that discussing the matter in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the board. The board will reconvene in open session at the end of the executive session.
Actually, since we did all the public, we don't need to do that. So you can just say we'll adjourn.
Okay, so we'll adjourn after this executive session.
So you're not going to come back to the public session. You'll just end from executive.
Yes. So should we vote to end the public session now? And then
I think you're covered by simply saying you're going to go into executive session and then you won't be coming back. You'll just adjourn from the executive session.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I entertain a motion to move into an executive session, and that will include myself, Steve DeRocher, Andy Phillips, Mark Connor, and Robin Stein. And I believe, is that it?
Yep.
Okay. So entertain a motion to open executive session.
Motion that we
You just have
open
a so
executive
moved.
session.
Yeah.
I second that motion.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Stephen DeRocher, aye.
Andy Phillip, aye.
And Bruce Gingrich, aye.